You ever stop and think about what's really making our modern world tick? I mean, there's this invisible engine humming along behind almost every single piece of tech we touch. It's like a secret ingredient that's become the foundation for, well, pretty much everything digital. So come on, let's pull back the curtain and see what this thing actually is. I mean, just think about it for a second. That Android phone in your pocket, the countless websites you scroll through every single day, the cloud that magically stores all your photos. Heck, even the world's most powerful supercomputers doing crazy scientific calculations. You'd think there's no way they all run on the same thing, right? It just sounds impossible. Well, guess what? They do. That one secret ingredient, that invisible engine we've been talking about, it's a piece of software that actually started out as just a small personal project way back in 1991. And it's called Linux. And when I say the world runs on it, that is no exaggeration. So let's really dig in and see just how widespread this thing is. You're probably going to be surprised. So where is Linux hiding? Honestly, it's pretty much everywhere, right in plain sight. The core of your Android phone? Yep, that's the Linux kernel. All those massive server farms that power the cloud for giants like AWS and Google? You guessed it, almost entirely Linux. And it doesn't stop there. Your smart TV, your home router, even the infotainment system in your car, chances are they're all running some version of it. It's the ultimate, quiet, reliable workhorse of our digital worlds. Okay, now if you want to talk about scale, get this. Around 70%, 70, of all websites are powered by servers running Linux. That means pretty much every time you visit a website, you are, in a way, talking to a Linux machine. That's not just being influential, that is just straight up dominance. All right, so we know it's everywhere, but what is Linux really? You know, the term can be a little confusing because people use it to mean a few different things. So let's break it down, nice and simple. So at its very core, what we call Linux is technically just the kernel. The best way to think about it is like a car engine. The engine is obviously crucial, right? It's what provides all the power and makes the car actually go. But you can't just drive an engine down the road by itself. You need the rest of the car, the body, the wheels, a steering wheel. The kernel is that engine. It's the piece of the puzzle that manages the computer's brain, its memory, and all the physical parts. And here's how you build the rest of that car. You start with the Linux kernel, that's our engine. Then you add a bunch of essential tools from a project called GNU. Think of this stuff as the car's body and frame. It gives it structure. And finally, you add a desktop environment. That's your dashboard, your seats, your steering wheel, all the things that let you actually use the car. When you put all of that together, you get a complete working operating system. And in the Linux world, we call that a distribution, or just distro for short. Okay, and this is where it gets really fun. See, unlike with Windows or Mac OS, there isn't just one single Linux. There are hundreds of these distros. Each one is kind of like a different model of car, you know? A sports car, a family van, an off-road truck. Each one is built for a different kind of driver. Let's take a look at some of the biggest ones. So these are kind of the major families. If you're just starting out, you might go for something from the Debian family, like Ubuntu or Linux Mint. They're famous for being super user-friendly. On the other end of the spectrum, big corporations often use the Red Hat family for their servers because it's rock solid. Now, each of these families has its own package manager, which you can basically just think of as its own app store for installing software. And for the real experts, the ones who want to build everything from scratch, they've got the Arch family. Seriously, there is a flavor for absolutely everyone. Right, so we've talked a lot about how it dominates servers, but why? How did this totally free, community-built project become the undisputed king of the internet and all those massive data centers? Well, it really comes down to 4 key things. First up is stability. I'm talking servers that can run for years, literally years, without ever needing to be rebooted. Then there's security. It was built from the ground up with a really smart system of permissions, which basically means if one little thing goes wrong, it can't take down the entire system. Third, it's modular. You can strip it down to just the absolute essentials you need, which makes it super lightweight and efficient. And last, but definitely not least, the killer feature, the cost. It's free. And when you're a company running thousands of servers, that's not just a nice to have. That is a total game changer. And you can see the impact right here on this chart. Yeah, the web server number is massive, but look at the other pieces. Cloud computing, and especially containers. I'm talking about modern tech like Docker and Kubernetes that are completely changing how software gets made. All of that is built directly on top of the Linux kernel. So you see, it's not just running the internet we have today, it's literally the foundation for the internet of tomorrow. So the big question is, how does all this stack up against the operating systems most of us use every day? You know, Windows and Mac OS. Let's put them head to head. You know, the best way to think about this isn't about which one is better. It's about what they're for. Linux is like a giant open workshop. It gives you every tool you could possibly imagine, and you have total freedom to build, break, and tweak anything you want. Windows and macOS, on the other hand, are more like a pristine car showroom. They give you a beautiful, polished experience right out of the box. But it's a closed, curated world. You can't just pop the hood and start rewiring things. And when you look at the details, you can really see those trade-offs. Linux is free, and you can customize it to your heart's content. But yeah, there can be a bit of a learning curve, especially with the command line, that powerful text-based interface. Windows, well, it has the most software available, so it's super easy to get going. And macOS gives you that super smooth, integrated experience. But you have to buy Apple's expensive hardware to get it. At the end of the day, it's all about picking the right tool for what you want to do. And that really gets to the core of what makes Linux so special. This isn't just some product churned out by a giant corporation. Its incredible success comes from its open source philosophy. It's the result of decades of work by hundreds of thousands of developers from all over the planet, all working together, collaborating to build something amazing that's free for everyone to use, to share, and to make better. It truly is the invisible engine, quietly powering our world, built not for profit, but for progress. And that leaves us with one last really exciting question. As technology keeps pushing forward, from AI to whatever the next version of the internet looks like, what will this incredible global community build next? The engine is running, and believe me, the future is a wide open road.